Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ivy's Bootcamp, and today's topic is narrative dashboards. Let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Ishani. I'm one of the trainer and director at IvyProSchool. My role is as a BI analyst, and I work on a lot of projects on Power BI. So, the reason why we took this topic for today's workshop, narrative dashboards. So, let me ask you first. Somebody raise the hand also. Do you have a question? So I have a question for you guys. When you look at this word narrative dashboards, what comes to your mind? What do you think is a narrative dashboard? I'm sure all of you have heard about this word dashboard. What is BI? BI is business intelligence, bringing intelligence via data to your businesses to make fastest decision. So what is a narrative dashboard or what is a dashboard? Anybody wants to share the thought of what is a dashboard? Interactive and all in one place. Okay, a dashboard which gives out information in form of narration rather than just plainly reading it. Dashboard is report of data. When you say dashboard, dashboard typically is created by any organization to meet a certain business objective. And it may be created via one single table or there may be multiple tables involved. But all the visuals, which is typically charts or tables, all the visuals, all the text, all the data on the dashboard is geared towards one single objective, right? So, dashboard is a collection of visuals. It is a collection of visuals, however, not disconnected visuals, and however, not information based visuals. So, the reason we have this particular workshop today of narrative dashboard is when I look at LinkedIn or other, portfolio projects, places, I see a lot of dashboards and very pretty looking dashboards, very neat and clean designs, great, design and color combinations and visuals. Individually, the visuals looks fabulous. But when you start to read these dashboards, on the outside they look pretty, but when you start to read these dashboards, and when you try to understand that what is that one information that it's trying to convey to me, I'm a little lost. So when you talk about narrative dashboards, these are static and these are created for the more senior managers. What they are supposed to do with these dashboards is make decisions. And hence, the work on a narrative dashboard has to be in form of easy to understand output and decision making, right? So let me take you through few dashboards I just picked from online. Power BI dashboard is a single page. It may not be a single page. It can be multiple pages maybe there, right? So one page on Power BI is called a dashboard and the entire thing is called a report. But a report may have multiple dashboards. Like a lot of times we have an executive or a higher level page and then we can drill through on various aspects of it and come up with our key insights, right? So today what we're trying to do is create one single page and try to show the end user the result, the output, not and tell a story out of it. Not just put multiple charts, put 10 charts on it, and the end user is trying to find a story. We are not going to allow end user to create a story. We create a story for the end user so that he or she is this live on YouTube? Yes, this is live on YouTube. So tell me, what do you think when I picked, two of the random dashboard from the website, and I would like to get your thoughts on it. What do you think about this dashboard? Is it nice? What are your thoughts on this dashboard? It's got the KPI, it has a line chart, it's got a bar graph, it has got this animation in it. It's a picture, so you can't see the animation part. And it's got the area chart, meaningful insight. Good or bad? Too much information? Confusing? Some people say good, some people say confusing. It is too much information, number one. Number two, the flow of information is confusing. It says ATM transaction report, right? So transaction count is given over here. Now, what is the output of this is to be headache of the end user, which ideally narrative dashboards don't do that. This may be good for someone who's trying to find an insight, but at the end, when they have found the insight, these dashboards have to be condensed further into very simple storytelling narratives. So that's what we're trying to do today, right? So it looks confusing. It's got no information flow. So first I'm talking about the transaction count, then I'm talking about the customer count, then there is a trend of transaction on the month level, and then there is average transaction amount by state and type. So many things going on. But if I have to understand from a business point of view, an ATM transaction report, what do you think a business or a bank would be interested in from an ATM transaction? The entire driver in this dashboard is actually the utilization rate, meaning if I install an ATM at a certain location, there's a cost associated with it, right? So, is there a utilization on the various places that I have kept my ATM services? And that is actually missing. Relationship between average amount and average duration, it has no meaning. When is the maximum amount taken out? Like what is the maximum when the maximum transactions amount? So this is little confusing. It has got few things which make sense, few things which do not make sense, right? So the essence of the entire dashboard is missing in this particular thing. Now, next, I picked another one. This is called recruitment stats. It is department wise. Where are the openings, hiring channel, hiring by employee type, hiring department, day spent stage, offer declined, hiring by recruiter, candidate drop off reason. This is your recruitment stat. Again, your thoughts. Is it telling you a story? Are you able to get some output from it, or is this just a lot of information? And when you read all the graphs over here, you still don't know what is the output of a dashboard. A lot of information. And do we know what we are actually looking at? Let's say I'm the head of HR in the recruitment process and I get this thing. So, what is my output? What is my take after I've read this dashboard? Very difficult. It is neat and clean, no doubt. I said, I told that in the very beginning. They look pretty design wise. We're like, wow, how did this guy or how did this girl make it? Right? But at the end of the day, what are we trying to find when we are trying to see the recruitment? What is the main thing that we are going to look at? We might be looking at how much time it takes to from the time we're doing the interviews till the time our offers are accepted. What is the turnaround time, which is called TAT? Nowhere it's mentioned that, right? Which channels are more better for recruitment? Like in which channels I have got more percentage of offers taken, acceptance rate is high, because then I'll dependency on that channel will increase. But again, all these kind of things are not available. And when these things are not available, this becomes a little bad dashboard for business. For looks, 100% marks. For business, I would not accept it. So these kind of mistakes we have to avoid while creating a dashboard. Now, what is a narrative dashboard? A dashboard that explains a change or guides a decision, which helps me as an end user looking at the dashboard to make a decision. Like I said, going back over here, from this, I should have known two decisions I could have made easily. That, okay, this channel is something that I'll depend on more because over here, my percentage acceptance is high. Or my team is taking a lot of time to close a candidate, right? So the turnaround time has to be decreased, or it is a good, like, turnaround time is fine. They're taking 3 days, can't be less than that. That's fine. And still I'm not able to, still in some places, I'm losing on the candidates. So if these two, three things also a dashboard gives, then it's a good dashboard. Don't force your dashboards to give you a lot of decision-making power. The objective of a narrative dashboard or a good dashboard should be to get few action points from it. So that's what we want. We want to explain the change and guide decisions, not just a collection of charts. If you put too many charts, that makes a good dashboard. That's absolutely false, right? Combines a headline. This is specific for narrative dashboards where we are telling a story. So when you think of a narrative dashboards, whenever I teach this topic of data storytelling in corporates or for my retail batches, or when I'm talking about dashboards, I keep telling them whenever you're creating such things, think about a newspaper. Nothing better than to compare it with a newspaper where there is a headline. The headline has to be catchy enough for the readers to go ahead and read the story, and a graph which matches your headlines. If your headline and your graph does not match, then again there is a big gap in what you're trying to narrate to the person. So a headline, what happened, cause, why it happened, and what are the actions now that we are going to take. So your dashboard has to consist of these things, right? For this, we use a lot of things in Power BI. We use a lot of DAX functions. We use concatenating. We use bookmarks. We use slicers. We use drill throughs. So a lot of features that are there, parameters, a lot of features in Power BI, which helps us to create a story in Power BI. So why narrative? Like I said, it drives decision and improves comprehension of the end user. These are the main two reasons why we shifted from Excel tables and reports and we moved on to the BI tools like Power BI or Tableau, because the end users are now becoming more and more aware that data can help them make a better decision. So as our work as a BI analyst, our work is to make it easier, not tough, that a person has to spend half an hour on it. So what are the building blocks? We use dynamic titles. We are going to use it today in our case study today. We have bookmarks, buttons. We do drill throughs, field parameters, what if parameters, decomposition tree. All these are being used for narration. So in today's workshop, we are going to do some bit of DAX to create a dynamic title to get some output of business from the data that we have. And we'll use slicers and grouping. So our work today is going to be to create this story. What is the story? This data is of the advertising. Where are people putting advertising budgets? So that I also get an understanding for my organization. Where is the shift? And if I understand the shift, then my allocation of budget of advertising would be done as per the shift of the industry. Right? So the story we're going to come out with is from TV to internet, the budget shifts, digital search, TV slides. Now, this is my main headline. Now, when you read this headline, and then if you look at the title at the bottom, then if you look at the visual, does the headline and the visual match or not? Orange is TV and blue is pure play internet. So it says from TV to internet, usage of color. I've kept the same color of TV over here and the visual. Internet, I've kept the same color. It says budget shifts. So when you read the headline, look at the visual. The first visual you look, Does it resonate with the headline or no? Is it resonating? Like a newspaper article, what you've read is what you're looking at, or is it something different? It is the same, right? So this is what narrative dashboard should be doing. Okay, so we are going to create this dashboard, and for this purpose, we are going to share. I'm going to share the data set. Now, people who have Power BI, more than welcome to work along. And if you don't have Power BI in this drive, the folder that I've given to you, I have given you the data. And then I've also given you the Power BI file also. I've given you both. So if you want to open the Power BI file and look at what has been done, stay with me. Or if you want to start from very scratch, you want to load the data and work, that also can be done, right? And then I've also divided into different ranges of years since it's a 10-year data. So wanted to divide it a little bit to show how the movement have happened, right? So let's get started. So once you open Power BI, right, this screen would come up. As soon as you click on the Power BI icon, this screen opens up and we are going to start with a blank report. So the first work of any BI tool is it's going to ask you which is the data with which we are going to do the connection. So it's going to ask for the data. Once you give the data, then the story begins, right? When I click on an empty report, blank report, this is the first screen that comes up. Like we were saying, there are pages, so I can have multiple pages in my report. Each page is called a dashboard. I may have multiple dashboards combined to create one single report. But that report, even though you have multiple dashboards or if you have multiple charts, it should talk about one single story. It can't talk about multiple things, multiple aspects, multiple stakeholders. When you create dashboard, it is talking about one single aspect of the data of the business, right? So this is the first screen that you see. Now over here, I have these icons, which is data. This is where the tables that we load, it may be one, it may be many, are going to show up. This is the place, this is called build, which is the place where we get to see all the visuals, different type of charts that are already there in Power BI. This is the place where we do the formatting. So once you create a visual, you also have to do decluttering of your visual so that it is good looking, easy to understand, faster to understand, right? On the left side, what you see are the different places again. They excellent CSV and folders. Yes, lot of not just excellent CSV folders are there. There are SQL servers. In one of the projects for a client, we had to use XML files. So a lot of different connections, a variety of connections that are there that you can do with Power BI. That's what makes this tool very, very powerful. On your left side, you see the report view. This is where your dashboard will appear. You will have the data view or the table view where you can look at the data just like how you will see it in an Excel file. This is the place where we do data modeling. In today's workshop, I don't have anything to do with data modeling, but if you look at any previous videos of Ivy, you will see there are certain videos where we have taken multiple tables and we do data modeling as well, right? So right now we are not doing it. Our main focus today is from the data, how to drive a story. So let's upload the data. It's an Excel workbook that I've sent to you. And I'll also upload the data over here. It's called Advertising Budget Analysis. So what I did was I clicked on Excel workbook because that's a data type I want. Anytime you connect to Excel, Excel has multiple worksheets. One workbook of Excel has multiple sheets. So all the sheets will show up over here. So it may be that I have I want to use data of all the different sheets, or I may have multiple things going on in that workbook, but my data is sitting in one single sheet. So whatever is the sheet you select over here, what BI will do is give you a preview of how it is looking at the data. Now, the way it is previewing the data is, does it look right or wrong? Does this look right or wrong? Column 1, column 2, column 3? Not correct, right? These are not my headers. Ideally, I would want my headers. Headers are not there. Correct. So what we do as a practice, we upload the data. We then go to transformation, which is nothing but a Power Query. If I have to do any changes to my data for a better output for my business, then we make those changes over there. We check the data types and then we load it into Power BI, right? So how do we go to this Power Query is through transform data. We are not going to load it directly. We'll go to transform data. Now, few things we will have to do on this table to make it meaningful. Let's look at the data first. So first thing is that my headers, which is type, source, and the years are coming in. It is not the header, but it is coming as a value. So I want to shift this to the headers. How do we do it? On the top, we have the home menu. Under home, on the right side, you will see something called use first row as headers, and we are going to do that. As soon as I do, I get proper headers now for my data set. So what is the data all about? The data over here is given is a type. So they have made main category as TV, radio, newspaper, magazine, others, and internet. And within the type, there are various sources like TV can be national TV or local TV. Internet can be pure play internet, search, X search, right? And for each year, what has been the budget allocation for advertising has been given, right? So data is from 2012 to 2022. So do you think in this format, so what we are trying to see, we are trying to see year wise over from 2012 to 2022, what has been the shift in the preference of advertising. Now, in the current way that the data is given to me, do you think we will be able to analyze it? Do you think we'll be able to analyze it? This is going to be tough. Now, if you have done Excel and you've done pivot tables, this entire BI tools work on the same concept as a pivot table. So if I wanted to analyze 2012, 2013, these are individual columns. So if I drag and drop, I'll have to drag and drop the columns 10 times. And if I want to do some calculations within them, it's going to be very tough because these are individual columns, right? So first you have to think that based on uh, Karamveer, I think you're going a little tangent from what I'm trying to discuss. So to make it work, what I would like, and to make it work for even Excel in pivot tables, or if I want to create in any BI tool, I would want a column of type. I would want a column of source. I would want a column of year, and I would want a column of spent, right? Type, source, year, spent. Right now I have too many columns. So what we're going to do is we are going to transform our data. We are going to select from 2012, press the shift key, go to the very end, select 22. So I've selected all the years, and under transform tab over here, we have something called unpivoting. Unpivoting means converting all these columns into two columns. One will have the year and one will have the spent. So in this case, we click over here and say unpivot only the selected column. So I've selected the columns of years and I want to unpivot them. So once I click over here, now it has come as type. So for each type, each source, for each year, what was the amount spent? This is clear what I've done, and I'm just double clicking and changing this to year, and this is I'm changing into spent amount. Is this part clear to everyone? Why this step was necessary? Without this step, we would not have been able to. Can I repeat it? Yes, I can. So I'll just unpivot it. I can just change it. So from 2012, press the shift key all the way down. 2022. Under transform, we have unpivot columns, only selected columns. And then we are just going to make it change the heading so that it's easier for us to understand in the front end, because attribute and value will not be meaningful. And I'm going to make this as spent amount or advertisement and spent. Clear? Okay. Now, whenever you unpivot, one thing you have to understand, unpivoting means converting a row into a column. Now, when you're converting row into column and not doing for other columns, those columns will do what? They will repeat themselves. So initially we had one TV, one national TV, and years in the column and the amount spent in a row. Now we've brought it over here. That's why your TV, national TV is repeating itself. All right. Karamveer, can I request you not to write messages which are not really related to what we are trying to discuss? I think it might confuse others, right? So type, source, year, and ad spend. So we've got all these four columns ready. Now, once your column tables are ready, then what we are going to do is check your data types also. Type is a text, source is a text, year can be text or a number. I'm going to make it a number. So how do you change a data type of any of the column is by clicking on the data type given over here. Like over here, ABC is given. So I click here and I'll make it a whole number. I can't make it a date because it's just year, but I'll make it a number. The reason I want to make it a number, if you remember in my visual, I have grouped them, right? So I can, because I can group text also, that's not a big deal. So I guess we can leave it at a text. I'm going to group it as a text only. We'll leave it as a text. We are not doing any calculations on it, so it's fine. So I'm just going to remove this step, right? And the ad spend has to be definitely numbers. Okay. Now, once all the changes have been done, what we do is go to home and close and apply. Till you don't do close and apply in Power Query, no changes will happen to your data in the front end also. As soon as you close and apply, all these changes that you did will be applied to the future data also and will be shown in the front end. Now it will take some time and it'll show you that it is uploading the data. Right? And over here, remember data icon. Now I have my data and I've got four columns: ad spend, source, type, and year. Clear? Now, if you want to show where, if you want to show the main question that let's say the CEO has asked is, what should be our budget allocation? Like, where are people advertising? So if I have a advertising budget of, let's say, 20 lakhs, where should I put maximum budget? Should I put it in newspaper? Should I put it on internet? Should I put it on magazine? Should I put it on TV? What is the trend of advertising right now? Right? So when I thought about it, I was like, okay, how should we do it? So I started with one chart in particular. What do you think? Which chart would you like to see? Because I want to see the trend, shift in the trend. So whenever the word trend comes to my mind, at least line charts come in my head. So I did start, you won't believe, to create this narrative. I've taken 2 hours before the workshop. So I started with build and I started with a line chart. And then I said, okay, I've created a line chart. Now, when you have a line chart, what all do you need to put over here? X-axis, Y-axis. X-axis will have the years. So I'll drop the years. And Y-axis, I'll drop the ad spend. Right? So this is showing me, this is from 22 to 2012. So we'll just reverse to year and we will format on ascending order. So now we are able to see the amount spent over the years. But is this telling us anything about where people are spending? This is just telling us, yes, we were spending. Then we stopped spending and then we started spending again. Line chart, exactly, Abhishek. Now, what do we do in order to understand what is the trend? We have the data of time. So I am going to go ahead and in the legends over here, this is what will help me to bifurcate this one single line into multiple. I will bring type. As soon as I did this, I saw a clear winner, which was pure play internet. Because everything is at the bottom. TV was the one which is little above the others. But rest of them are almost at the very bottom and everything is declining. There was no increase. Except for TV, it was winning as per the TV, as against internet, but then again it declined. And at the same point, during this point, we saw internet increase. So trust me, I had almost finished my story with this visual. And what I did to bring out my story, I made all the other lines over here as gray. And I made sure I focus only on TV and internet, the two things I want to talk about in my story. Right? So I just wanted two things to be the focus. So one part of storytelling is the usage of colors. If you use too many colors, my end user really doesn't know where to focus. So they focus everywhere. And if you want your story to be good, your narrative to be good, then you have to play a lot with the colors. So in order to work with this, I had to change all these colors into gray and then I change the color of this one to blue and this one to red. Now, I had finished everything, like I said, but then, stories never come out from your first instinct of your charts. You need to play around with the charts. And then I started playing around with the chart and I said, okay, let's make a stacked column chart. Let's see what's going on. And over here, when I did, I like, this is nice. Now I can see how the pure play has been rising. So this was good. But then the problem was I could not see the decline of the TV so easily because for this one, it was easy. It is coming together. But over here, it is up and down. Anything which is not in a straight line to compare those things becomes very difficult. So the third type of chart I started thinking of is my 100% stacked column chart. Now, as soon as we did that, we saw the purple, which is internet. It is growing, showing very nicely. And TV, which was dominant previously, start to decline. So then I said, okay, this is the chart that looks good. This is the one I want to go with. And the story is, yes, it has been a shift. First dominant was TV. Now the domination have moved from TV to internet. Still, the focus need to be on two things. What was dominant before? and what is dominating now, right? So now comes the play of formatting and cleaning your visuals. First, you have to work with the visuals, which visual works best to show what you want to tell, and then comes cleaning up. So cleaning up of the visuals are going to happen in the format part, right? So in format, what are the things I did? Number one, I got rid of the grid lines. Grid lines is something that I think are the wastes, is wasting our energy even to look at it, especially when you're working on Excel and BI. They are good when you're drawing it by hand, right? On the y-axis, there are certain numbers and sum of and we are going to get rid of it by turning off the value, turning off the title. On the x-axis, I have the values, which is 2012 to 2022. I need that. But everybody knows it's an year because that's going to be how it is shown overall. So I'm going to turn off the title over here. So this gives more space to my visual now, right? But this is too many colors. Orange is bright, pink is there, blue is bright, everything is there. I want the person to focus on only two things. So now we're going to start playing with the colors. So these are the columns, right? One by one, what we are going to do is things I don't want to focus, we make it dull. So I started picking shades of gray. So magazine, newspaper, second shade. So having little bit differentiation, but not making them my primary work. Then I pick the third shade of gray. And then pure play internet. This is my main player. So I wanted to, I'm a very blue and a gray person. So I gave blue to this. Then we have radio. What we're going to do is again shades of gray. And then comes my competitor TV. So I gave a bright orange to it. Again, because I want person to focus on these two. In fact, for the radio also, we can reduce the grayness of it. Let's pick this. We can repeat, no problem. So far, so good. You understood why we did this? It is available on YouTube, so don't worry about it. Once you have Power BI downloaded, you guys can pause, play, and do the entire thing. In fact, the Power BI dashboard I've given to you guys, right? Now, this is nice. Now, the thing about when you create narrative dashboards are not only about visuals. Narrative dashboards are also about the titles and the text that goes along with the visuals that you have, right? Those are very important. Now, I'm a civil engineer, I'm an engineer, I'm not creative, I'm not fancy with the words, right? So what comes for my rescue? One second, I'm going to just disable intonation over here. So what comes to my rescue is ChatGPT or any kind of similar products on it, right? What I did was I took a snipping tool and took a screenshot. Okay. Went to ChatGPT, new chat is there. And I said, this is my visual. Suggests a good title for this visual. So now it has given me some things like shifting advertising trends, rise of digital ad spend versus traditional media, decades of change. So these are something which is, these are better titles just than saying ad spend on year end time. Those titles are like very old way of talking, right? So over here, if we don't want to pinpoint at this point that yes, internet or digital ad spend is more, then what we can do is give a simple one like shifting advertisement trends, so that a person knows that what he or she is looking at, right? Went back to my BI and went to the title, and instead of the title that's there, I changed the title and I think made it in the center. This makes more sense, right? So this is our first visual that we created. Now, second visual I created, but to be honest, that's not what the story is all about. Sometimes your story needs one or two visuals. Sometimes your story is complete with one visual. So the ask is, which is the main medium? So at internet is the main medium, pure play internet. Then since this is the main category and there is a subcategory, if you see, this is the main category type, and inside the type, there is a source. So that's the reason I got prompted, okay, let me create a source also. Okay. Now, how to do that? For the source, let's go back. I created a donut chart. And before we create donut chart, let's put labels over here. Okay, we are going to put labels so that it's more readable. So selecting this once again. So whatever you have to do with the visuals, whether it's putting borders, giving background, giving some shadows, all that is done through format. So we'll go to format, and at the bottom we have data labels. We'll turn it on. Nobody in the business talks about what is the share, 67.20%. People will say 67%, 35%, 32%, 16%. So the zero after 0 point, the two decimal places are bad. So what we're going to do is we are simply going to go over here and go to the details, scroll down a little more. You will see value decimal value, and we will make it 0. Okay, now this looks neat and clean. Now, if you think about the flow of information, the first flow is showing the shift in the trend. But the second thing is, since this is an upper level, this is a category, inside this category, what is going on, right? So for that, we are going to create a donut chart. So created a donut chart, resized it a bit. And now in this donut chart, what do I want? I want the source. So that goes in the legends. And I want the value. That is the ad spend. But this is giving me the source of everything. I think, guys, it's better if you stick to the topic. Certificate and all you will get. You can ask those things little later. Let's try to learn something. Certificate without knowledge is not going to be helpful at all. Okay. Is this a good thing? I've got sources of all. Do I need to focus on sources of all? It's not that all information that I have to be used in a dashboard. When we are coming out with narrative or story, our focus has to be there. So the next storyline is, I know pure play internet is doing well, but what component of it, what is the division in it? Now, I want to filter this particular visual only for pure play internet. So how do we do it? We are going to use this filter panel over here, right? We have the source. What we are going to do is give the source only for the specific type, which is pure play internet. So I'm going to bring type and drop it in this place, which is filter on this visual. Only that filter, only this visual I'm filtering. And I'm going to check mark on pure play internet. As soon as you do that, now we are only looking at pure play internet, search and X search, which is related to the shift that we are talking about. Once again, cleaning. For cleaning, we'll go to format. Under details, this is what I would always suggest everyone. Donut pie looks good, but the legends are very extremely difficult to read. Look at the color, go to the legend, or look at the legend, go to the color, and back and forth. So I don't like legends over here. I like to play with the labels. Over here in the labels, we'll say, tell me the category name and tell me the percentage, right? And just like in the previous one, we got rid of the decimal places. Over here also, we'll do the same. We'll get rid of the decimal places. Okay, so within Pure Play also, how it is there, this is the spent. And again, give a good title to your chart. So far, so good. Yes. Now everything was done. I still was like, I'm not fully convinced. How do I tell my end user this is a good story? Visually, yes, this is a good story, but how did I utilize my 10 years data? Then I thought, to make it more effective, to make it more interesting, let's do some calculations and give it to the end user. What are the calculations we'll do? Every time we have multiple years of data, we like to see the compound growth. What has been the growth? The spend that I had over here versus here, how much has been the change, right? So for these kind of things, to bring more information to your dashboards, to bring more information to your stories, we definitely need to use some DAX functions. So I use some DAX functions. I'm just going to quickly show them to you. I use the DAX function because my whole story is around internet and TV. So I just created two DAX functions which are using certain functions like usage of variables, functions like calculate, sum, minimum, and divide. And this is the formula for compound growth rate, right? So I'm going to copy this. And how do you create a measure? These calculations are called measures. Measures in Power BI are supposed to be giving you one single output, one single value, right? So you right click on the table anywhere, new measure, and then you paste it. Not paste it, you will have to work with it. So data value. So my value has changed. I have named this at ad spent. So I'll just change it over here. Ad spent. Okay. And that's it. Press enter. So this will result in a single value for me. So what is this telling me? This is telling me for what is the rate, the growth that we have seen over here in the spent is about 16%, right? This looks good. We will just convert it into percentage. So I'll select this. Once you select your measure tool on the top pops up. And over here we'll do percentage. And let's make it one decimal place. All right. So I can see it is 16.3. Same thing I wanted to do for TV also because I wanted to compare. See, this is for one, this is for second. Look at the difference in the growth. And let's just pick what I've created over here already. Control A, Control C. I'm going to go back. Same way, right click, new measure. Everything remaining the same, only differences. We now are working with TV rather than internet. All right, done. Okay, so this is the place where I created these visuals, these measures. Now the next thing, wanted to understand further that how can I combine these two values into one single value and that to make it dynamic. Why dynamic? Because this is 10 years. So it's not that all of a sudden internet came up. It gradually increased. So next thing was, okay, can I divide my years into, first I thought, okay, let me do 5 years, 5 years. Then I remembered in between COVID was there. So I really can't divide them 5 years, 5 years. So what I did, I grouped my years. And how do you do grouping? Is by clicking on the three dots, you will see something called new group. And over here, all the years would show up, right? So I picked first 5 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Grouped. Change the name. Right? Went back. Now I don't want to group it 5 years because in between COVID was there. So I combined it from 17 to 19. Again, group. Just for look and feel, instead of having all years, just putting a hyphen there. And then after the COVID years, group and this, right? This is just to analyze how much was the change over a period of time. Every time for 5 years, what was the change? Next 3 years from start and end, what was the change? And after that, what was the change, right? So year group is created. Now, once this is created, if you see the dashboard, what I have got these buttons. These are called slices. What is the work of these slices? So if I click on 2012 to 16, I can see the change, right? Then 29%, 27%, 29, 30. This is the point it started to converge, and 2014 is when it started to increase, and the share over here decreased, but not to that extent. Then 17 to 19, this grew a lot, right? 20 to 22, again, it grew a lot, and this share started to shrink. So how to create this is, so we've already done the legwork of creating the group. Now the next thing we want to do is create the slicer for it. Slicer helps you to analyze your data, right? So visual, again, this is where the visuals are. This is your slicer. So I clicked on the slicer, and in the field, I dropped the year group. Now I could have left it like this, but it's not looking nice. Prettiness is also important. So we are going to go over here to the format. Under slicer settings, we are going to make it as a tile. Tile helps you to make it like a block, easy to understand and work with. So I shrunk this and put it over here. Now all visuals talk to each other. So if I click here, everything will change, right? And if I want to look at overall, I'll clear the selection. Make sense? So this told us a story since 2014, the shift started, right? It was not very aggressive before that. And by 2017-19, it got about 50% of the shares. And by 2022, it has went up to the 70% of the shares. So now there's a nice story to it, right? Now, last thing I did over here was I wanted to create a text like a headline. So if you see over here, this text, it says percentage CAGR for pure play internet advertising is 16.3 versus for TV is minus 1.68. But this is talking about overall years, all the years. So instead of that, if I click here, now do you see the numbers changing? If I click here, numbers are changing. If I click here, numbers are changing. So I wanted a narrative to be there which changes as per my selection and not be static. Because I wanted to show the difference in growth with every, what do you say, the link with every year group that we had taken. Okay. So now how did we create this? I use something called, again, we have to use measures once again. And using the measures, or you don't have to use measures, because I was testing a lot of things and then I was like, okay, this is what I want. So now we're going to learn how to create a narrative or a title or a text box with certain measures that we have already created. We have already created measure of internet and TV. So we go to insert. Over here, we create a text box. Typically, people use these text box for fixed text that is going to be shown on the dashboard. Typically, it's our title of the dashboard. But today, we are going to use this feature called dynamic value. So what I had written over there was, and let me increase the size, let's say 20, percentage CAGR Oops. For pure play internet is, and now I want to use the value from a measure. So I'll go to value. And what do I want to CAGR internet? CAGR. So it has given me CAGR internet, which is this value, and I save. And now the 16.3 has come over here. I'll just make this also 20. Okay. Then I use the text versus percentage CAGR for TV is, and now I want the other value. So again, I'll go to dynamic value and I'll type in CAGR TV and save. I guess I did not format this one. So let me do it quickly. Done. And let's increase the width size of the font over here. All right. Now this is dynamic. Now if I click here, because when you click, you're filtering the data based on the filter data, it is changing the value. So there was a growth in TV, there was a growth under internet. Both of them grew in this period. This was more growth, this was less growth. 17 to 19, this was growth, it started to decline, but -1%. And over here, again, the decline is there, but not that. It's not a huge decline, -1 and then -1.1. But it had started declining, and pure play started increasing 19 to 21 to all the way to, then over here, it only grew 10%. But overall, if you look, it grew 16% and it went down by 1.7. So this is a story. This is a narrative that you're trying to tell. Is it clear? And the last part, what I did was I took the entire dashboard, gave it back to GPT and said, okay, give me a very powerful title, just like a newspaper heading for this dashboard. And that is where it prompted me to create this, which I liked also, from TV to internet, budget shifts, digital searches, comma, TV slides. And all I did, I copy pasted. This is a text box. I pasted it and I made sure so that when you look at the headline, when you look at my visual, both of them are same. So that's why I just changed the color of TV to the one I used here and internet to the color I used over here. Okay, one more thing I did, since a lot of colors that I'm using in my chart one are also in chart two. So I don't want my user to get confused between these two are the same things. So I went ahead and changed the under format, under the slices, and this is for X search. You would want to make sure no confusion is there. So pick a color which is not in this visual at all, so that the end user know these two are two separate things. You don't want them to visually even connect the two things which are not the same. Okay, so this is how we create a narrative dashboard. So when you read the narration on the top, when you look at the visual at the bottom, both should be looking like in sync. They should both be in sync. So this is how narrative dashboards are. And if you see, it's a very minimal design. Not too many charts, but telling the story. Only one chart is good enough to tell the story of this data. Okay. Do you have any questions for me? No questions. So you guys have the data set. Power BI you can download. You have this video by which you can look, play, pause, and see what were the different steps. And you also have the Power BI dashboard with you. Okay, there are certain things like headlines I have done, but then I'm not used it finally. And that's how things are. Typically, we do a lot of experimentation and then we come up with a final output. So I hope you enjoyed this particular workshop. Where can we get the YouTube video? It is going to be on Ivy Pro School's. There's a YouTube channel of Ivy Pro School. You can get it over there. I would say you can subscribe, because bootcamp is one thing that we do, but we try to post a lot of videos related to various tools in the industry, trying to, you know, touch upon the most important aspects. Like right now, if you hear the words agentic AI agents, Gen AI, data storytelling, these are the main things that you will hear a lot. Automation of Excel and Python. So we have done a lot of things in the past. We will continue to do a lot of bootcamp. And if you subscribe to our channel, then you will be able to see any content that comes over there. All right. So thank you so much. And certificate, they will, how to know about upcoming bootcamp. Again, if you've subscribed to our channel, it is posted there also. It's posted on our LinkedIn. So connect with us on any social media platform. And the certificates are something that a different team, I don't do it, different team will be doing it. And once they tally the attendance, so typically anybody who has attended both the days will definitely get a certificate from us. So it takes about 2 to 3 days. By Friday or by next Monday, you should be able to get it. All right. More than certificate. I know you guys are all about grabbing all the certificates possible, but the most important thing is to get the output of the workshops that we're trying to do. Try to understand why this is important and try to do the working. Like hands-on is important for the learning. All right. Thank you so much. You have a good night. Take care. Have a good night.